Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, welcome to Scout Team Sports. We are the Scout Team. It is early in the morning, but that's a great thing because it is Wednesday and you are listening to our live show that we put on every Monday through Friday. It airs on 12ouncesportsradio.com at 6 a.m. and again at 11 a.m. So if you missed the early show, you can always catch the replay at 11 a.m. on 12ouncesportsradio.com. I'm excited to be here. I'm one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard, and this is what they have to say about me.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And that is a true story. And then I think I hear on the other end a little buzzing, and that little buzzing would be...
Yeah, this is Chris America coming to you live every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, every day of the week, 12-ounce sports radio. I don't know what that buzzing is. I'm going to try and fix it.
I think it's a bee, maybe a wasp, could be a fly. I don't know. Could be a fly girl from In Living Color. Any of those things would be great. I'd be happy with any of those buzzes. So you know what? The real buzz is over at the Sports Turd. So the Sports Turd comes out, and they like to do their power rankings. And we talked about this last week when they came out with their power rankings. And, you know, a few of them were pretty good. A couple of them weren't too bad. Maybe there was some bad power rankings then. But this week's, I feel like it takes the cake. You know, you sit there and you look and you think, okay, who do they have in there? And there are some glaring omissions, and there are some teams that are put in the Power 5 or Power Top 10 rankings that are just there by name. It reminds me a lot of college football. It reminds me a lot of this just, I don't know, biased sports opinion that the Sports Turd likes to put out. So I'm going to go straight for it, going straight for the jugular, but man, I hate these power rankings that they put out. So I'm gonna list these off, and Chris America, you can chime in after I throw out this list, and we can talk about how awful this thing is. Now, at the top, I do have to agree with 1 and 2, and probably 3 on here. So the Rams, number 1, Jaguars, number 2, Chiefs, number 3, Patriots, number 4, Eagles, number 5, Vikings, Packers, Falcons, Saints, Steelers. So in the totality of it, not a terrible list. At the top, Jags, Rams, Chiefs, Patriots. I can live with all those. Eagles, reigning Super Bowl champions. They're going to get the respect they deserve, even though they have a huge loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which makes me think a team that's 2-0 that beats the Super Bowl champions, nowhere on this list. Why would the Bucs not be on this power ranking, Chris America?
Because that makes too much sense. Because the media doesn't like being wrong. The media never likes to admit that they're wrong. And they will wait until they absolutely have to admit until they're wrong. AP voters are the same way. It's just ridiculous. They just don't like to admit that they're wrong, and they can't go on a week-by-week basis. It just makes absolutely no sense. I'm not saying the Buccaneers are a top 10 team the rest of the way, that they're going to go 10-6. I don't know, but that's not the point. The point is you should be doing a power rankings based on what you've seen on the field. And what you've seen on the field from the Pittsburgh Steelers is 0-1-1. A team that couldn't beat the Browns, couldn't beat them at all, didn't even come close to beating them. I mean, they were because it was tied. But, I mean, at no point in the game did you think, wow, the Browns or the Steelers are the much better team in this game. They should definitely win. No, it was a back-and-forth game. It was an even game. And then they turn it around and they let Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, yes, that's true, but he's still a rookie. He's still figuring stuff out. He's only in his second season. He didn't play it all last year. And you let him throw 6 touchdowns, throw the ball all over your yard in Pittsburgh, and you're telling me that's a top 10 team? I don't get it.
Yeah, Pittsburgh to me is the worst team on this list. I think that the whole Steelers dynasty, and every year we give the Steelers credit. They always come in with an understanding that, I guess the league always looks at it like, oh, the Steelers are going to be great. They've got Ben Roethlisberger. They got Antonio Brown. But they had a lot of controversy this year. They have Le'Veon Bell not showing out. That's a big offensive weapon that they're missing. Their defense is just absolutely atrocious. And you can... I feel like every team's going to put up 6 touchdowns on this defense. It has looked so bad. But when you look at a power ranking, a team with a terrible defense and no wins making the top 10, and teams like Tampa Bay. Now, I'm gonna mention the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 2-0. So you have a team that has 0 wins on here, and you have 2 teams, just because they're in the state of Florida, and there's a lot of oppression in the state of Florida between UCF and all of the pro teams. I'm surprised the Jaguars even got mentioned. The Jaguars, after being disrespected all last year, everybody commenting on how terrible Blake Bortles is, and they're all being wrong, they're all being proven wrong, are sitting there at the top of it. So I'm glad for them, but Bucks and Dolphins aren't getting the respect that they deserve, though I'm not too high on the Dolphins. I wouldn't have put them on my top 10. I think I would have had the Bucks on here. I would have had the Bucks. And you know who would also have gotten honorable mention is the Cleveland Browns. The Browns should have won that game against the Steelers and could have won that game against the Saints. So the Browns against 2 top 10 power ranking Sports Turd power ranked teams showed up and showed out. And you know what? Guess what? Browns are going to make it up on this power ranking. I think they're going to sneak in here pretty quickly. So
think about it this way with the Browns and the Steelers. They have the exact same record. They both have a tie. The reason why they both have a tie is because they tied each other. Now, what did the Steelers do when they went from their tie? They went back home to Pittsburgh in front of their home crowd, and they had 42 points put up on them. They had 6 touchdowns thrown by a second-year guy who didn't play in his first year. What did the Browns do? They go down to the Saints in New Orleans, in the South, in SEC country, and they stopped Drew Brees and his high-flying offense. Drew Brees, a future Hall of Famer, locked in. Drew Brees, a Super Bowl champion. They locked him down to, what did they score, 21 points? And that 21 wasn't even 3 touchdowns. That 21 was through a series of field goals and other mishaps and everything else. So how are the Steelers a top 10 team, but the Browns are not? I don't understand. It makes no sense.
Yep. No, I'm 100% with you. And you're right. The Browns' defense, what they were able to do is just unbelievable. And, when you look back at it, I think the Browns are on this upward track, and the Steelers are on a downward spiral. The Steelers have a lot to prove. They have to pull a lot together, and I haven't seen anything that says that they should be on this top 10 power rankings. And I got to keep mentioning it, man. The Browns look great. The Bucks look great. There's just so many teams out there that have looked better than the Steelers. I mean, I would have had Steelers maybe at 15 or 18 on my list if I was doing a list of power rankings. I wouldn't even had them close to the top 10. They wouldn't even been sniffing at the top 10. And here we go, the Sports Turd doing their typical biased opinion, throwing it out there. And again, the rest of the list I can live with. The Falcons, they're borderline to me. I actually probably would have had the Saints a little bit above the Falcons. But Packers and Vikings, they deserve to be up there. Eagles, even though they're coming off a loss, I would have given them a little bit of respect with the Super Bowl championship. You got to do that. Patriots are always the Patriots. Chiefs, Jaguars, Rams. I mean, this is a good list that has just one glaring omission and one team on here that is so far off of where it needs to be. So for power rankings and NFL, I mean, it's unbelievable. But I do want to move on to another subject, Chris America. We were having a little bit of a debate with the man with the golden mic the other day about this Jameis Winston situation and how Ryan Fitzpatrick deserves to be out there. Now, there is a news story that dropped yesterday, and it's just a continuation of an old story that just happened to rear its ugly head right at the most inopportune time for Jameis Winston. This is a time when, he's trying to get back on the field, and the guy that replaced him is out playing him. and looking fantastic. But the Uber driver that Winston supposedly groped, I don't know, if I wasn't there, so we're going to just say he was accused of being groping this Uber driver. That Uber driver is coming out and is now placing a lawsuit against Jameis Winston. So now is it not only just a legal issue that Winston was going through, now he's going to be sued over the whole matter. So it's getting brought back up, and we're kind of revisiting the whole, wait a second, Jameis Winston, that's right. He's done this, all of these things that have made us think, man, this isn't a good guy. Like, what is he doing that's good when he's groping Uber drivers and saying speeches in classrooms about how women should be, shouldn't speak up and things like that are just, you're like, what is this guy doing? So now we have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who comes out in a press conference and basically steals the show doing his best Conor McGregor impression. He's all the fans are loving this guy right now. He's doing all the right things, and
Loud
Jameis
beard.
Winston.
Real
Yes,
quick,
go ahead.
That should be your Halloween costume. Go on. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just had to say that you need the Ryan Fitzpatrick, Conor McGregor Halloween costume.
Man, you know what? I already had it on my list. I was starting to scavenge through the Goodwills in the local area. I found a lot of Dolphins jerseys, and I was looking for some of my Conor McGregor gear so I could get that going. So yeah, I'm all over that. But as a fan, right now, Tampa Bay Bucs fans are thinking, okay, we've won 2 games. He looks amazing. He's fun. He's coming out. We're loving every second of it. Oh, by the way, our other quarterback, who we drafted number 1 overall, has underperformed, has been in trouble. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's getting sued by an Uber driver for groping her. So this whole thing is really stinking, and I'm kind of coming over to your side and thinking we got to keep this Fitzmagic going. He has to be the Fitzmagic that we for the rest of the season for the Bucs, unless he goes in and throws 5 interceptions in one half of a game. Unless he does something like that, he has got to be the quarterback for the rest of the year for the Tampa Bay Bucs.
I mean, at least until he's, the hot hand goes down.
Yeah, I mean, we could stick his hand into a bucket of ice cold water, but I don't think it'll even help because, he's in superpower mode. He's turbocharged. His hand is a flame. He's like Ghost Rider, the famous comic where he turns into flames and you can't cool this guy off. He's unbelievable and unstoppable. He's looking like the GOAT. He's looking like the great Blake Bortles at this point.
And let's not go that far. Blake Bortles is still a lot better.
Okay, all right. Well, I won't go there. There's another GOAT out in the news. I just want to do a quick story about him. So there's a new book that was just released, and this book was about Bill Belichick and about the greatness of the coaching that Bill Belichick has. And you know what? I'm going to completely agree. Bill Belichick, to me, is one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach of all time. But this book brings to light some of these challenges that we've been seeing a little bit from the outside between Belichick and Brady. And so according to some sources, these are sources that were from the Sports Turd, Ian O'Connor, he's the author of this book. He has gotten some sources out there. We're not going to say who the sources are because we don't want to give that away. I guess maybe because we just don't know. But this is what Ian O'Connor's sources are telling him. It is, if you're married 18 years to a grouchy person who gets under your skin and never compliments you, after a while you want to divorce him. So Tom knows that Bill is the best coach in the league, but he's had enough of him. If Tom could, I think he would divorce him, meaning Bill Belichick. So I think this relationship is rocky. I don't know if Tom Brady's going to make it till he's 49 years old in the NFL at this rate with Bill Belichick. So, I'm hearing that, and I think it's a little bit of what we already know. So what is your take on this whole Belichick-Brady situation?
I think this is an old, recycled story. This is a story that's been cycling through over and over and over again. Definitely picked up this last summer But we've heard it. We've heard about how these two don't get along and blah, blah, blah. But these are two of the greatest of all time. These are two professionals. And they remind me of those grandparents that would have divorced 30 years ago. But because of their own personal beliefs and their own personal, way of life, they're never going to get a divorce. So they just make it work and they just live together with mopey faces on and just grumpy old people. That's what Tom and Bill are going to be. They'll make it work. They'll figure it out. They can make it through. I mean, what has he got? 5 more years with this guy? He can make 5 years work and continue to grow on his brand and grow on his legacy. You don't leave the guy that's helped you get 9 rings both ways. Or not 9 rings, but 5 rings. You've been to the Super Bowl 8 times. You need each other.
Yeah, I mean, it is a complementary relationship. It may be toxic, but they do work well together. We have obviously seen this success over the years between with Tom Brady, with the Patriots, and how well it is just that sustained success, which a lot of coaches have trouble doing. We've seen coaches have great seasons and then, they drop off. I think of someone like Sean Payton at the New Orleans Saints. He's a great coach. He won a Super Bowl. He has Drew Brees, but they've had some 4-12 seasons and some 6-10 seasons. They haven't been at the top of their game. Very few coaches, even if they have a superstar quarterback, can sustain that success over such a long period of time. Even when Peyton Manning was in Indianapolis, yes, they were winning 10-plus games every year, but they didn't have that Super Bowl success. They weren't going to the Super Bowl every year. So they only won 1 Super Bowl with Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, and they lost 1, so they went to 2. The Patriots are going to 8 Super Bowls and winning a lot of Super Bowls. I mean, this is one of those situations where you look at it and say, wow, this is such a successful organization, and it has to be related to that relationship, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And, there's going to be, and no matter how perfect the marriage is, there's always going to be fights. And I think they just got to muster it out, man. Just got to make it work for the next couple years, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'd hate to see them in divorce court. That would be bad for everybody, all parties involved.
But I'd watch.
Oh, yeah. Divorce Court was one of my favorite shows growing up. Just seeing all the tragedy of it. And when I say growing up, I think when I would go, when I was working as a young Loudbeard, and I'd go in the break room at work, for some reason it was always on. And I don't know, it's mesmerizing. And then you get into the Judge Judy's and just, I don't know, this whole the court debacle thing, it draws me in.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of beard court later on in the show. We're going to have Loudbeard judge on some cases I found in the sports world that we need some judging on. So hopefully you stick around for that after the break. But what do we got coming up next, Loudbeard?
All right, well, I do want to talk a little baseball. Baseball, that's right. We don't talk about baseball quite enough. And there's a few stories out there I want to hit on. And, I also want to look at how some of these teams are doing. We're getting down into that wild card race. If I looked at it correctly, I think there's only, about 13, 14, 15 games left. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. With a 162-game season, it starts coming down to it. And, the wild card race is starting to heat up. And there's some teams out there looking pretty good. Now, over in the American League, you got the Yankees. So the Yankees got some great news last night. The Judge is back. Aaron Judge, who had this wrist injury, and this was a nagging wrist injury. It's held him out for quite a while. But he was back in the starting lineup last night against the Red Sox. So the Yankees get one of their big bats back, one of the fan favorites, one of the guys that is going to help carry them into the postseason. So the Yankees are in a comfortable lead in the wild card in the American League. The Red Sox have already clinched a playoff position and are going to take the division, but you're going to have the Yankees with that wild card spot. They are also getting their great reliever, Aroldis Chapman, back. The guy throws 100 miles an hour on a regular basis, and getting him to come in relief and save these games is going to be a big notch for the Yankees. So the Yankees are coming in with a lot of momentum into the postseason. Great start or great opportunity for them with this wild card situation. They do have 2 games up, actually 2.5 games up on the A's for that second wild card, so the A's have that second wild card spot. So the Yankees will have a home field advantage in that wild card game. The Rays are sitting there. They're about 5.5 games back from that wild card. Now, that's not too bad for a team like Tampa Bay. Now, you and I both, we've talked about this. The expectations in Tampa were not very high this year, and they have overwhelmingly exceeded those expectations. Would you agree with that, Chris America?
I would say yeah.
Yeah. And, the Rays, they have a young pitcher, Blake Snell, who gets the start last night. He ends up winning his 20th game. He is the first pitcher in the majors to get to 20 wins. He beats the Rangers last night. Well, the Rays beat the Rangers 4-0. And this guy's only 25 years old. He's another one of these guys that the Rays have brought in, and they keep bringing in this young talent. They build it up through their farm system. They always trade away mature talent for young prospects, and that's how they keep it going. They're always refilling that source, that they're bringing in the talent. Their scouting is amazing. And this is another guy, Blake Snell, who was on nobody's radar to begin the year and has just had a breakout season, first in the majors to 20 wins. I mean, we're talking about all these other great Cy Young candidates that are out there, the Chris Sales and the Jake DeGroms and the Justin Verlanders. Nobody's talking about Blake Snell, and he quietly, on a team that was expected to underachieve, won 20 games this year and is just pitching lights out. And the Rays, you still got 15 games left. Anything could happen. They could make a run at it. They could catch the Yankees. They could catch the A's. But they've got 84 wins already, 15 games left. Let's see what they can do. And then on the other side, you've got Brewers. They're sitting there at the National League wild card at 86 wins. Well, that's only 2 ahead of where the Rays are. The Rays are just at the misfortune of being in the American League, which is much tougher. But the Brewers, Christian Yelich the other night, hits for the cycle for the second time in this season, which is absolutely unheard of. So Brewers sitting there at 86. The Cardinals are right there, 2 games behind them. And then a game and a half behind the Cardinals is the Rockies. So you got a little bit of a tight race here for this for the wild card spots here in the National League. And Phillies are about 6 games out of that. So they have an outside chance of making a run, but it looks like it's going to be the Rockies, Cardinals, and Brewers. And the Brewers are right now taking that lead, but 15 games left, man. Anything can happen. Any thoughts on this baseball season?
Well, yeah, I got one thought, and that's you mentioned how the Rays have 84 wins. You know who else has 84 wins? The Cleveland Indians, who sit in another division. They've already clinched that division. They're already sitting comfortable going to the playoffs, while the Tampa Bay Rays have to play against the Yankees and the Red Sox. It really sucks for the Rays because being in that division, they are just behind the 8 ball at all times. They're a smaller market. They don't have the budget that most other teams have. And they have to play against 2 large budget rosters year in and year out. And it's going to be tough for any manager to come in and put together a team that just can consistently make the playoffs and can consistently make a run at the World Series. Now, if they played in the Central Division, that would be awesome because they have the same wins as the Cleveland Indians, who doesn't have a single team even close to a winning record. The closest is the Minnesota Twins. They're 11 games back from an even record. And then you have Detroit, who is 19 games back from 500. So it's basically the Sun Belt of baseball there, what Cleveland has going on. And here are the Rays. They are playing against the Yankees. They're playing against Boston. And then they go on the road and they have to play the Houstons, the Houstons, the A's. They got to go play Cleveland even. So they have to play the Red Sox and the Yankees, and then they have to go play everybody else, where everybody else just gets to play their crappy teams in their league, and then every once in a while they get to play the Yankees and the Red Sox. So I'm not saying there needs to be change, but I hate when we see a team with a winning record or a team that could possibly have a better record than another team in a division, and they have to stay home in the playoffs.
Yeah, that is one of the downfalls to the system. Sometimes that happens in the NFL when you have a division leader at 7-9, and you have another team at 10-6 that ends up on the outside in the playoffs. But it is a system that they are aware of when they're going in. So I don't like it, but you got to follow. You got to play by the rules. You got to play by where that's going. So another American League team I want to throw out at you that's having a phenomenal year. I mean, this is a record-breaking year for this team, the Baltimore Orioles. Last night they get their 108th loss. So this is a Baltimore Orioles record. The Orioles have never lost more than 107 games in a season. This Orioles team leading the league in losses, 108 losses. So this made me think, I wonder how close they are to the all-time record for losses. And unfortunately, they're not going to hit it. But if I was going to tell you what city in the great United States is known as a city that has a lot of losses, and their sports teams set records for how many times they can lose games in a row, what city would come to mind first? Is there a city out there that you think of that is known synonymous for losing?
Cleveland.
So the Cleveland Spiders in 1899 have the record in the major leagues for 134 losses in a single season. They had 20 wins and 134 losses. Now, this isn't the Cleveland Indians. This was the Cleveland Spiders in 1899. But the city of Cleveland, they are known to be the biggest losers in the world of sports, and it's sad, man.
And think about it. I don't think that was a 163-game season. I don't know how long the season was, but I don't think they played as many games back then. So you got to wonder how many losses they would have had if they played 162 or 163 games, whatever or is it 164? I don't know, whatever it is, 160-plus games. That would be something else. What do you think is harder, losing 16 games in an NFL season or losing 134, or what Baltimore's doing, losing 108?
So 108, I think I looked at the record. It puts them as like the 7th worst team all times with the losing records. So that's pretty hard to do, but I would say losing 134 games, and that was a 154-game season back in 1899. So that was 6 games less, or 8 games less than what we're playing in modern day era. So they could have easily lost 6 to 8 more games. But 134 games and only winning 20, I would say that is harder than 0-16. Yeah, I mean, it would almost be as if the Browns went 0-16 back-to-back years. I think that would be harder to do than what the Cleveland Spiders did back in 1899. But, with the tie coming week 1, I think Cleveland Browns have already got themselves out of that conversation of being the worst Cleveland sports team of all times.
Yeah, for sure.
So, baseball-wise, man, that's really all I got. We're really getting it up to the wild card race where everything's starting to heat up. I like seeing as these races go. Every year there seems to be one team out in left field that ends up making a run. I really hope it's the Rays this year. For all of our Oakland Athletics fans out there, I'm sorry, but I hope the Rays catch you, and I hope they make this interesting as we get closer. They're only 5.5 games back. It could happen. It may not happen, but they need to make this run for it. 5.5 games to get to that wild card spot to catch Oakland. Man, it's possible. Let's see that run. And same thing on the National League side. I'd love to see the Phillies make a run. The Phillies have been kind of a rough team over the last few years. Ever since they won that World Series, I believe it was 2009 or 2007 when they won the World Series, they've really just dropped off the face of the earth. They finally come back and have a competitive season. And let's see if maybe they can make a run. Or maybe an Arizona Diamondbacks or Pittsburgh Pirates. There are several teams sitting back within striking distance. It would take a lot for it to happen. Somebody would have to have a collapse, like a St. Louis Cardinals would have to collapse, or the Colorado Rockies, or both, for one of those other teams in the National League to get in. But, man, anything is possible. Dreams can happen, Chris America. I believe in miracles.
Me too, man, especially with the Orlando Magic. Go Magic. I believe.
Oh, I believe in the Magic also. The problem is I don't believe that they're going to win. I just believe in them because I'm a believer.
They're my team.
All right, on the flip side, find out why Loudbeard is the greatest judge of all times. Well, maybe not, because of Aaron Judge.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Oh, guess who it is? Did you know the station had a janitor? Oh yeah, the Hefe, otherwise known as Beck. And it's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-ounce sports radio every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch interviews, special guests, and the recap of the week's news and headlines and box scores and results. It's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-ounce sports radio.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-ounce sports radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb.
Oh, it's summertime. And what's that mean? We're all heading off to the golf course. But don't go too fast. Make sure you go to 12ozsportsradio.com and book a tee time. At the bottom of any page, you'll see Book Like a Pro. Click that banner, enter your course of choice or zip code, find a tee time you like, book that tee time, and you'll get up to 50% off, courtesy of 12-ounce sports radio. Book like a pro, even if you don't play like one.
Ring Central features all-in-one phone, messaging, and video conferencing. It's easy to use with unparalleled security. Ring Central simplifies things so you can grow. Call Ring Central to speak with a representative about a price for your growing business at 877-779-3860. Again, that's 877-779-3860.
Yeah, we are back. You are listening to the Scout Team with Scout Team Sports. Man, it is a beautiful Wednesday. You are here with Loudbeard and Chris America, and we are just having a good old time here on your airwaves at 12ozsportsradio.com. We have a great lineup ahead of us today. Make sure you all tune in. I really don't have the updated schedule. I need to get this updated because we just did some switching around and some changes. I'm pretty sure I've got it memorized, but I don't have it exactly in front of me. But I believe TNT Sports is going to be coming on here 7 a.m. right after our show. At 8 a.m., Clutch Talk Sports will be on the airwaves at 12ozsportsradio.com. At noon, 11, we get the Scout Team replay. At noon, we're going to have College Credit Hour with our good friend Memphis Spence from Sports Radio America. Steve in the Hood on today at 2. Girls Beer Sports, reality check-in audio replay. They do a live TV channel with 12-ounce Sports Radio, and we're getting the audio replayed live on the radio station at 5 o'clock. Live from the 815. And then, of course, as always, tonight, 7:30 to 9 o'clock, Scout Team After Dark. And immediately following Scout Team After Dark, we have our good friends over at We Talk Sports Good coming live. Oh, you ready for some After Dark tonight, Chris America?
I am ready. Apparently, you and the ghost with the golden mic are ready too. Both of you guys had a little flub-ups with your language earlier in the week, but I'm ready for it. I even think the video I played with
I
with
said
Dabo,
shoot. I said shoot.
Yeah.
I said shoot. Sharp. Sharp. I said.
I'm pretty sure with Dino Babber's Motivation Monday speech, I think the players in the background were using some curse words. So apparently everybody's ready for some Scout Team After Dark, where we can kind of let loose a little bit. We joke around a lot more. We have a little more fun. We understand that there's a lot of sports fans who have to take their kids to school in the morning, and we want you to continue listening to us while you're on your way to work, while you're on your way to school. We don't want to give you a reason to have to turn us off. We want your kids to enjoy the show as well, and hear Judge Loudbeard rule on some cases. I got to work on a little intro here. I thought of this idea yesterday after hearing a few sports stories around the world or around the country, and I thought, man, we need Judge Loudbeard to rule on these things. So what do you think, Loudbeard? You up for it?
I am always ready. Judgment Day is coming.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
rise. Be prepared.
your legal background is watching Night Court and People's Court, I think you said.
I once got food poisoning at the food court at the mall. I know all about courts.
You know all about courts. Well, let's start
I
off
love
with
Law and Order. I binge watch it from time to time.
ding ding.
That was perfect. That was spot on. That sound.
That was
effect
spot
you
on,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday at 6:36 a.m. Winter Springs. Here we are. We're in Miami, so we're all excited about Ryan Fitzpatrick, right, Judge Loudbeard?
I am very excited about Ryan Fitzpatrick, also known as Ryan Fitzmagic.
And you've known him to kind of every once in a while show up as Ryan Fitzmagic from year to year, whether it's with the Buffalo Bills or if it's with the New York Jets, and now it's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But every time Fitzpatrick finds the magic and becomes this future Hall of Fame quarterback, we call him Fitzmagic, right?
Yes, we do.
Well, not so fast, my friends. There's a new rookie at the Miami Dolphins named Minka Fitzpatrick. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes. Wasn't he on Bama?
Yes, he was on Alabama, and
He was a co-national champion when Bama won their championship and UCF won their championship same year.
right, same year, co-national
Okay,
champs.
yes, I know him. Yes.
So his mama always knows best, says, man, that Fitzmagic nickname's been used for my son since high school. And they've decided to file an application with the trademark office to trademark the phrase Fitzmagic. So they are going down to the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and they filed it. So you're the judge. Should people be allowed to trademark? I don't care about what the law is. I'm asking what Judge Loudbeard says here, and I think your ruling overrules the courts in the United States. Should
Yes.
Fitzmagic belong to Minka Fitzpatrick? Should it belong to Ryan Fitzpatrick? Or should it belong to the fans who should be able to use the phrase Fitzmagic anytime somebody with the last name Fitzpatrick does something great?
I believe it needs to belong to the fans. This is my ruling. This is how I stand. Guilty. So the fans deserve to be able to use the word Fitzmagic because anytime somebody comes around with the name Fitzpatrick, it's going to be easy to say, I didn't hear Minka Fitzpatrick trademarking Fitztragic. Did you hear that? Because it belongs to the fans also.
I did not, and I think you should rule on that as well right now. Just say that Fitztragic and Fitzmagic all belong. I agree. I agree with this ruling, and I'm going to uphold it as well. I think I think trademarking any term is just plain stupid. It's like we're America. We have the First Amendment. We shouldn't be sitting here allowing people to buy words and keep people from using words, especially something so stupid like Fitzmagic. If it's the name of your company, like if he opens like Fitzmagic Magic Store where he's selling, rabbits and hats and everything else like that, then I can see where he has an argument. But if he just wants to say, hey, I'm the only person that's allowed to be called Fitzmagic and I just want to sell some t-shirts that say Fitzmagic on it, man, go F yourself. Go somewhere else with that. And I should have saved that term for Scout Team After Dark, so I apologize, little ones. But yeah, Fitzmagic belongs to the people.
Agreed. Judge Loudbeard makes the ruling. It belongs to the people, and it will stay with the people. Next case. Moving on.
Okay, Your Honor, Loudbeard, you remember earlier in the season, probably around preseason, the Bud Light and Browns came to an agreement to go around to bars in Cleveland and put in victory fridges, where if the Cleveland Browns win a game, they will unlock the victory fridge and hand out all Bud Lights to people at the bar. Do you remember this story?
Yes.
Well, there's a Browns fan club, or Browns fan club in New York City. You know how they have them all around the country. I think you probably know of some like Redskins fan clubs that meet at a bar. There's Steeler bars. There's these things are all over the country, right?
Yes. And for the record, can you say what the name of this group is? Is it the Tim Couchers?
No, they're the Big Apple Brown backers.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. But yeah, good fandom over in Cleveland. They love their Tim Couch. They love their Bud Light coolers, and they love not to win games. Now, they can tie a game. They can almost win a game. They can miss field goals to lose a game. But they still haven't quite won that game. So, yes, I am aware of this cooler situation, and I am aware of everything going on with it.
Okay, so this Big Apple Browns backers of New York City decided to do this at their bar. They made a victory fridge, but they didn't fill it up with Bud Lights. They filled it up with like cinnamon whiskey and champagne and other beer that can't be named in the story. And I guess the Cleveland Browns and Bud Light caught wind of this, and they sent a strong cease and desist order to this bar telling them they need to wipe away all Browns mentions of victory fridge. They need to wipe out all of their social media history, like where they posted on Facebook and Twitter and anything else that they said, hey, come to this bar and watch the Browns with us, and if they win, we're going to open up our own victory fridge here. Loudbeard, do you agree that the Browns should have the legal authority to tell a bar in New York City what they do with their fridge and how they celebrate team wins?
Yes. I'm going to actually side against the people on this one. I think the establishment, the man, needs to be given the full power on this one. Bud Light and the Cleveland Browns, they got together. There are two juggernauts of organizations, billions of dollars here, and they came up with a brilliant idea. And I feel like these copycatters over at the Big Apple Backer Browner bar do not need to be doing a good old thievery, reach around brown grab, and taking all of this idea that Bud Light and the Cleveland Browns came up with, which is a brilliant idea, a brilliant marketing scheme, and try to steal it just so that they can have their cinnamon whiskey and foo-foo-y beers. You know what? Give Bud Light their moment in the sun. Great idea by Bud Light. You know, I love their advertising. I love their marketing, and they need to stick with it. This is for sure what needs to happen. And so I am siding on the side of big business. Loudbeard rules. I wish I had a gavel that made a loud banging noise right now.
You're the judge, so I'm not gonna speak too ill of that. But I can't believe you are siding with big business over small people. These are Browns fans. They deserve whatever bit of hope and whatever bit of celebration they can think of. Yes, did Bud Light and Browns come up with a victory fridge? Sure, but is it really that original of an idea? UCF, yes. When they went winless, there was a bar, I think it was, I don't remember what bar it was, but there was a bar back when UCF was winless, and they started this idea probably at the end of September, beginning of October of that season, and they said, hey, if the UCF Knights win, it's free beer for like 2 hours or something afterwards. And so this isn't an original idea that the Browns and the Bud Light company have come up with their own. I'm pretty sure that multiple bars around the country have done this for multiple sports teams. I know there's another bar in town that does Thursday night football, and it's free beer until the first team scores. So get off your high horses there, Browns and Bud Light. You're not going to lose an ounce of money from a bar that gets 200 to 400 fans doing the same exact thing. There's no copyright infringement. There's no idea stealing here. This is nothing original. This is, once again, why I hate owners more than I hate players. All right, next case on the docket here. FanDuel refuses to pay man who won his wager or his bet. FanDuel posted a bad line. There was a glitch in their computer system that basically paid a guy $82,000 on a $500 bet. I think it was what it was. And so, no, he posted $110 on the Broncos, and the way the line was set out, it made him win $82,000. FanDuel saying, no, that was a glitch in our computer. It wasn't supposed to be that. It was actually supposed to be that the Broncos were favored to win, not the underdog, so we're not going to pay the bet. So what they did is they gave the guy $500 and tickets to a New York Giants game instead. Judge Loudbeard, how do you rule on this case?
Guilty. So I'm going to have to say that FanDuel needs to pay this man. One, FanDuel is a big company that makes a lot of money off of sports gambling, and if their system glitched, it's their fault. Now, this is the old casino rule where if you go and the slot machine malfunctions during a play, even if you win $1 million, the casino can say, oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to pay that out. I've never seen that happen, but if it happened, I would be pissed. And if I was this guy, I would be pissed. I don't want $500. I want $82,000. And FanDuel, you have the money. Pay the man. Own up to it. Now, what they're worried about, I'm going to get into the legalese of all of this. What they're worried about is this could open the Pandora's box. If this happened again and they had to pay somebody $1 million, they would say there would be precedent that they went and did this for this other guy. So they're covering themselves. They're trying to say, no, it's a glitch. We corrected it. And I believe I read in an article about this situation where it was a 19-second glitch. So any bets placed within those 19 seconds fell in where there was the wrong category. And I'm just going to say, now I still think FanDuel needs to own it. I think they need to pay the man. Pay up, sucker.
Yeah, I completely agree with this ruling. Whatever you advertise is what you have to sell, is the way I see it. I remember buying a CD once. It said it was like $8. Somebody put the wrong sticker on it, and it was really like a $20 CD. This is way back in the day when I was in high school, and the guy at the cashier honored it. It was a 20. Yeah, it was a $20 CD, but somebody at his store accidentally put the $8 sticker on it, and he honored it. He paid the $8. It's up to FanDuel to make sure their computers don't glitch. And then it's up to the person at the window or whoever to catch that mistake when they see a guy, yeah, I want $110 on the Broncos that are at a, whatever to whatever odds. I mean, they print out the receipt. The receipt says this is what the odds are and here's what the cash out is going to be. You got to catch that stuff. And whether it's $82,000 or $1 million, that's the cost of doing business if you're going to run a gambling casino. I'm sure all of these casinos have insurance and surety bonds placed on all of these bets. They have ways to protect themselves from people winning big money, whether it's by a glitch or whether it's by good luck. You have to pay out the bets. And this is in New Jersey, too. This they just passed, New Jersey law obviously just passed the new gambling laws and everything. This is a bad look for New Jersey, not the state, but just gambling in New Jersey. I'm not going to want to go bet in New Jersey if companies and casinos are protected by the state to not pay out my bets. If I put money down on a line and you accept my bet at the window, you better honor that bet and pay me out. And I think the state should back the bettor on this one.
So what was the worst look for the state of New Jersey, this or the show Jersey Shore airing on MTV?
Probably bringing back Jersey Shore as old people now. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't. I didn't know MTV was still a station. I'm old, crotchety old man.
Yeah, I caught it like a few weeks ago, and it was bad. They did not age well. A couple of them aged well. The other ones, Gym Tan Laundry, did not make them age well.
It's the tanning thing. Once you're tanning and you're 20, it looks great. When you've tanned for 20 straight years and you're like 35, all of a sudden you start getting that like wrinkly, like
you start looking like an
leather.
You start looking like an FSU turnover bag.
Oh, it never gets old.
Well, hey, Loudbeard, this is going to be my last show for this week. I'm going out of town, so I wanted to give you my NFL picks, the two teams that we have to pick and lock in, and we can't pick again. I wanted to make sure I get those out before I go for the weekend. We got 5 minutes left in the show, so I'm going to make my picks. You can either make your picks now or you can make them on Friday, and I'll just listen in later. But I'm 1-3, Loudbeard. I don't think we even went over our picks. I picked the Jets, And now I can't even remember who I picked, but I know that the Jets were the ones that lost. Oh, I picked the Chargers to beat the Bills. Luckily, we both picked the Jets, so that kept us in check a little bit. So I'm 1-3. You are what? 1-1 and 1? I don't know. What is your record? 2-1-1?
2-1-1.
Who was your other pick besides the Jets? I couldn't remember.
No, I didn't go Jets. I had Jags versus Patriots. I picked the Jaguars, and then I went Giants versus Cowboys, and the Cowboys ended up beating the Giants. So I was 1-1 last week.
Okay.
And then the previous week I had the Browns, and I'd have to go back and look. But I'm 2-1-1, and you said you are 1-3.
Yeah, I'm 1-3. Yeah.
All right.
Because I went 1-1 this week and 0-2 last week. Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure I thought I remember saying I'm going to pick the Jets too.
I don't. You can go back and listen to the tape.
Right,
I've got it written
fine.
down right here.
I'll take it up with Judge. I'll take it up with Judge Loudbeard next
week. You were taking the easy
week.
ones, and I'm going to pick some hard ones. And
I'll take it up with Judge Loudbeard next week. I'm going to take you to court.
Good luck.
All right. So my picks this week, I'm going to go with the whole pick against the Bills at all cost. And I'm going to pick the Vikings this week. I'm not excited about picking the Vikings this early, but I need to catch up. I need to stop picking these fringe teams. So I'm going to go Vikings over the Bills. That should be a blowout win. Kirk Cousins will probably put up 700 yards passing. And then I had my other team picked out, but now I can't. Oh, yes. I'm going to go Chicago Bears at the Cardinals. I'm just picking the two worst teams in the league, and I'm picking against them for from here on out.
Wow, that's ballsy.
Ballsy.
Yeah. Okay. I see your pattern. I'm gonna try to pick different games than you picked.
You don't have to, right?
Yeah. No. I'm doing it. No, I'm doing it. This is how I roll. I like to be original. So I have not picked the Patriots yet. I picked against them last week, but that was me picking the Jaguars. Patriots are going up against the 0-2 Lions. Matt Patricia. The Patriots know all his game planning, and they know all his business. So I think Patriots are going to take it to the Lions this week. That's a lock it in. And I would say the other game, oh, man, this is a tough decision, but I think I'm going to have to go with it. I'm going to go Bucks beating down the Steelers in Monday Night Football. So going Bucks.
So you got Fitzmagic lighting up that Steeler defense, huh?
Yeah, Fitzmagic, man. Don't expect him to come out looking flat. This guy, I mean, he's got the swag. He's got the confidence. Fitzmagic is going to bring it, and I am excited to see the fireworks. And let's knock that power ranking out of ESPN's hands, out of the sports turds' hands, and say, why are the Bucks not in the Power 10? Let's go ahead and have the Bucks defeat the Steelers and move into that spot. That's what's going to happen this week.
I like it. A couple of other matchups I'm interested to see. Jimmy G versus my boy Patrick Mahomes. Would be fun to watch those two go at it at 1 o'clock on Fox. And the Raiders are going to start off 0-3, it looks like, and the Dolphins will start off 3-0, and I still won't buy the Dolphins because of who they've played throughout their first 3 weeks.
See, I've got the Raiders in this game. I think John Gruden is desperate for a victory. I think it's a little bit of lightning in a bottle for the Dolphins, like you said, with them playing weaker opponents. The Raiders, they had their opportunity to win last week. They've been in these games. They're not getting blown out. They're just missing. It's like almost like they needed a defensive player of the year on their defense to help them win these games. I guess they decided they didn't need that. They trade away Mac, and I still think they come out with a victory against the Dolphins.
All right, and I totally disagree, but we'll move on. Your Packers, or sorry, not your Packers, your Redskins play the Packers. They need to get off of. They need to get off the mat after losing to the Colts. We didn't talk about our teams losing this week at all. What are your feelings going into? At least it's at Washington, and your Redskins. They got to get off the mat this week. They can't go 1-2. I don't think.
No, they can't go 1-2. The game last week, they should have had that game, but they didn't look good. The Colts were a better team. They won that game. This week, unless Aaron Rodgers gets hurt or something, it's going to be a really tough game to win. Packers are good. Aaron Rodgers is great. His greatness is going to be what's going to be on showcase for this game. So, yeah, I don't feel great about this as a Redskins fan. I'm going to pick the Redskins because that's what I do as a fan. but it's false hope, man. I hope it's real hope, but I kind of have some false hope here.
And then Jets-Browns tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. Are we going to see a trash Thursday Night Football game, or do you think these two teams can actually put an exciting game together tomorrow? And do we get to open a victory fridge?
Yes, and yes, and yes, and yes. Victory fridge will be opened. It could be a trash game, but it's going to be a trash game where you get to see the Cleveland Browns finally get their victory. You get to see Sam Darnold. I'd like to see him. After week 1, he looked really good. At week 2, a little bit down to earth. So let's see what we get out of Sam Darnold. Let's see what this Jets team is all about, and let's see what this Browns team is all about. I'm actually excited about this. If you said ahead of the season, would you be excited about this game? I would have said absolutely not. But with what potential Sam Darnold has and the excitement that the Browns have, their great defense, and Tyrod Taylor manning the helm over there, I'm excited about this game. I'm looking forward to this. This is a good Thursday night matchup.
Yes, should be exciting, and I'm looking forward to tonight's show at 7:30 live on 12ouncesportsradio.com. We look forward to seeing you guys later tonight. Peace.
Peace. We are out.
I don't know, man. I think I'm ready to see Mayfield now. I really am.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. They need to give it a shot. I mean, they haven't won with Tyrod, and his completion percentage has been garbage.
Yeah.